So the next story that we have to look into today is the story of Cain. Now, there's a story where the devil himself actually comes to Cain, and he is the one who pushes Cain to do what he had done. So if we look into the Jewish traditions, we find that there is a more detailed account of this story. We find it in the book of Genesis, but we also find it in the Midrash. And according to this story, Eve had a dream. She had a dream of Cain drinking the blood of her younger son, Abel. So in a dream, Eve had seen the blood of Abel flow into the mouth of Cain, who drank it with avidity, though his brother entreated him not to take all. When she told her dream to Adam, he said, lamenting, "Oh, that this may not portend the death of Abel at the hand of Cain." So they were afraid that it was an omen, that Cain was going to eventually slay Abel. So they started trying to prevent that from happening. It says that Adam separated the two lads, assigning to each an abode of his own, and to each he taught a different occupation. Cain became a tiller of the ground, and Abel a keeper of the sheep. But it was all in vain. In spite of these precautions, Cain slew his brother. His hostility towards Abel had more than one reason, but it began when God had respect unto the offering of Abel, and accepted it by sending heavenly fire down to consume it, while the offering of Cain was rejected. So we all know this story. They brought forth sacrifices to God, and the offering of Cain was not consumed by the fire because he didn't bring forth his best. And the offering of Abel, he had brought forth his best, and it was consumed by God. It was accepted by God. So this gave Cain a complex, you know. He started thinking things. He started thinking bad things about God.
Yeah, and we can find this, a full narration of this in Islamic narrations. It says in the long narration that Abel was, like you said, owner of sheep, so he sacrificed the fattest of the best of his sheep. So the fire ate Abel's sacrifice, but it did not eat Cain's sacrifice. So Iblis went to Cain and said, "O Cain, this matter which you are going through is nothing, because it is just you and your brother. If children are born to both of you and your descendants become many, his descendants will become more prideful against your descendants because of the special rank that your father made for him. And because the fire accepted his sacrifice and rejected yours. But if you kill him, your father will not have a choice but to give you the special rank that he gave him." So Cain jumped towards Abel and he killed him. So here we find that Cain is killing his brother Abel in a fit of envy. The fact that, Abel was being granted a special rank with God, Cain found it in himself. Satan found this weakness in him, so he played on that weakness, and he instigated him into committing that action. But in the end, Cain was the person who committed the action and not Satan.
Yeah, of course.
So in the end, the person to be blamed for the action is none other than Cain, for listening to the devil. So, it's that role that Satan is now, we can see clearly how he's playing it. He's whispering to the human being. He's whispering acts of, hostility towards good people. And we find that, it leads to such a thing as committing murder. The first murder in human history is committed by a brother towards his brother. And that goes, I think, it shows a lot about human tendency in committing evil, and in wanting to feel special as Cain wanted to. So it's a dangerous thing, I think.
Yeah, it's really dangerous, and I think that it, it's something that we should all think about. Like, if you have some sort of perceived rivalry with someone, like you have, this particular example happens to be a sibling rivalry. There was envy, this competition between the brothers, and it was all it was kick-started by this activity where they were offering a sacrifice to God. And then we see him, as we had said before, faith is thinking good of God. We'd seen that this literally leads him in the opposite direction, and he starts thinking bad about God, and Satan sees it, and he sees his opportunity, and he pushes on that button, and he says, it's not just about you, it's about your lineage, and then we have the first murder in history.